Hi everybody, so I'm going to talk to you about the academic IELTS. So I'm going to just be looking in this book here that I put together for academic IELTS. And we're going to be looking at the Task 2 essay. Okay, so the Task 2 essay consists of 250 words and you've got to write it in 40 minutes. So it's not an easy task to do. Now, to begin with, I'll teach you some proven key study skills which are highly recommended by the professors at university in England, and the scholars have proven that the mind mapping techniques, for example, do work. They can mean the difference between passing or failing an exam in any subject. So it's great to learn this technique because when you do this, it's not necessarily just for English, you can use it for all subjects as well. So let's have a look at the first things we're going to be doing. So we're going to be analysing the question of the IELTS Task 2 essay. So we want to look at it, and we know it's a long, complex thing, this question. It can be 1, 2, 3 sentences or more. And it's not easy, so we need to analyse it and decide, is this question containing just background facts? So it's got truth in it, so we need to write true facts. Or is it just opinion? Because sometimes a question can be an opinion, right? So also contained in the question, and it's normally at the bottom, would be the task, and that is the instruction, isn't it, telling you what to do. So let's look at one together. So advances in technology and automation, they have reduced the need for manual labour. Well, that's certainly true, isn't it? Because I've got a washing machine and I might have a car and whatever else I need, computer, I couldn't do without computer or phone. So, yeah, that's true, okay? So that's a fact. We do know that advances in technology have made life easier, so that one's a fact. The next sentence, therefore, working hours should be reduced. Well, there's a nice thought, but who says so? Well, the government says so at the moment, doesn't it? But so therefore, working hours should be reduced. So nobody has said that. I'm wondering, where does that come from? That is just an opinion. So now I know I've got a fact and an opinion within this question, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be on this subject. If I learn to analyse the question, by rights, I should be able to analyse any question of any subject. So isn't that wonderful, right? So then you've got the final sentence, which is usually, not always, but usually the task. And it tells me, or it asks me, to what extent do you agree? So now I'm going to write, agree, I don't agree, etc. So I know that I've got to write about a fact, an opinion, and disagreeing and agreeing. Okay, so that would all come in my introduction, which would be short and sweet and just include what I'm going to write about. So also my introduction is in fact an instruction of my essay, rather like a menu. Okay, so we're learning, aren't we, to analyse the question, to brainstorm our ideas firstly, secondly to analyse the question, and after that, then we just need to write the introduction. A lot of people make the introduction too long and fail the essay because they don't finish it, but I won't let you do that. I'll teach you how to work around that as well. So we analyse that. The next thing I would do would be to give the student a task. So identifying the parts of an essay question, asking you to work alone now and to analyse here. So you've got fact, opinion and task here, and you've got to decide on this question. I'm going to read it to you now. So there's only 2 sentences. In many countries, the proportion of older people is increasing. So is the older generation, the population increasing or decreasing? Is it getting bigger or smaller? It tells me it's increasing. Or it asks me, is the proportion of older people increasing? And I have to work out, is that fact or opinion? Well, actually, when I think about my country, no, it's not an opinion, it's a fact, it's happening. So, yes, I assume from my experience, because you can bring in your world experience when you're doing IELTS, They like that in the essay. And I assume, and I'm right, that yes, it's increasing. So I know the first sentence is opinion. So I'm going to write, if I was a student, I would be putting opinion in this box here. Okay? So then, could this have a more positive or a negative effect upon society? It's asking me now in the second sentence. So if I give my views on that, I'm actually going to give my opinion. So that is an opinion. There's nothing to prove otherwise. You can't say it's all negative, it's all positive. It's going to be 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, isn't it? So I'm going to put that as an opinion. So I've got a fact and an opinion. But there's no uniform set way of the questions going. They can be 2 sentences, 3 sentences. They can be 2 opinions, 2 facts. They can also be fact, opinion. But there's always going to be a task in there somewhere. So now I haven't got a set task. I've got to look at the sentences again to find out which of them is a fact or an opinion and also a task at the same time. Because you can get that. You get a question with a sentence that can be a task, but it's also an opinion or a task and it's a fact, okay? So let me read it again. I'm still analysing and learning to analyse here. This is the task for the student. In many countries, the proportion of older people is increasing. We know that's a fact, but that doesn't give me direction or instruction. Could this have a more positive or negative effect? It's asking me upon society. So it's getting me thinking now. So yes, so the bottom sentence about negative, positive effects on society, that is an opinion, but it is also a task. So now I've completed the student task because I have put fact, opinion and task here, and I've analysed that sentence, okay? So we learn step by step. Okay, over to the next page, and I'm going to just run through some of the things that might be included in the question for Task 2 academic essay. For example, what are the advantages or disadvantages? So that would be a task, wouldn't it, asking us to write down what are the advantages and disadvantages. Do the benefits of this topic outweigh the drawbacks? Discuss both opinions and give your own opinion, so you'd have 3 opinions there in your essay. So you'd write that as a directive in your introduction. You would put, I'm going to put opinion 1, opinion 2, and finally in the conclusion my own opinion. So that would be completed. So you've covered everything quickly in the introduction so you can get on with writing. In the mind map that you would be doing, you would put introduction, you would put positive paragraph, negative paragraph and conclusion, so you would know exactly what you're doing immediately, to allow for nerves, because you always get nervous when you do an exam, so that's covered, okay? So you've got generally in the questions for Task 2 essay, advantages or disadvantages, cause and effect, cause and solution, problem solving, problem solutions, opinion 1 and opinion 2. So I hope that's given you some insight into how we would start with the IELTS by giving you a mind map for the essay, which you would learn from memory, so you would have that in here before you go into the exam, which is very useful, as I say, to combat nerves and be calm. I'd also give you the mind mapping, a completely different mind mapping for speaking. I guide you to sites where you can find many subject areas relating to the questions, so you would have a pretty good idea of what the questions might be about. These sites have also got related vocabulary that you can look at and different ways of putting the grammar as well. So we'd be working together on that, and many people think the speaking is the most difficult part, but I personally think it's the Task 2 essay, simply because you don't have a long time to do it. You've only got 40 minutes. So I hope that's given you some guidance and inspiration on how to tackle the Task 2 essay and IELTS in general. Thank you. Looking forward to meeting you.